I just think the type of team that Todd Bowles wants to coach and the type of team that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are two different things. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a high-flying, explosive type of team when it comes to their personnel. Todd Bowles is a defensive-minded head coach. He wants to coach a team more so like the Texans or the Broncos or one of those teams with outstanding personnel on the defensive side of the ball. So I want to start this episode off by talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, more specifically what I think their long-term outlook could be. But I also do want to spend some time talking about what they can be this year for the rest of the year, like finishing out the rest of the year here. And this is where I'll start off with this. When you look at their outlook for the rest of the season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can absolutely win this division. They still control their own destiny. If they beat the Carolina Panthers 2 times in a row, I don't think it's much of a discussion. I think they're going to win that division. But what is the ceiling of this football team? I just don't think the ceiling is that high. Do I think they could beat Seattle in Tampa Bay? I don't think they can. I know they beat them in Seattle. Hats off to them. But at the same time, I think that this is a different Tampa Bay Buccaneers football team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers football team that played that game. I just think it is. And can they win that game and then move on to probably playing the Rams in round 2 and go to the other side of the country and beat LA in LA? I don't see that happening. I don't see them going on a Super Bowl run this year. And I get it. They've been a good team here over the past few years. But at the same time, I would just say they were just a good team. I think they hit their ceilings, which was make it to the playoffs and maybe win a playoff game at most. They were never going to make a Super Bowl run. And more so, this is where I want to get into the conversation. This is the meat of the conversation that I want to get into. I think if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers want to win a Super Bowl, Todd Bowles cannot be in the future for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And here's the reason why I say that. It's not because I think Todd Bowles is a bad head coach. I don't think that that's the case. I just think the type of team that Todd Bowles wants to coach and the type of team that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are two different things. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a high-flying, explosive type of team when it comes to their personnel. Todd Bowles is a defensive-minded head coach. He wants to coach a team more so like the Texans or the Broncos or one of those teams with outstanding personnel on the defensive side of the ball. And when you look at just the league as a whole, it's heading more towards offensive-minded head coaches. And that's where I think Tampa Bay should go next if they do decide to move on from Todd Bowles. And when you look at what the Super Bowl matchups have been in recent years, this year, 2025, Nick Sirianni versus Andy Reid, 2 offensive-minded head coaches. Year before that, 2024, Andy Reid versus Kyle Shanahan, 2 offensive-minded head coaches. 2023, Andy Reid versus Nick Sirianni, 2 offensive-minded head coaches. 2022, you had Sean McVay versus Zach Taylor, 2 offensive-minded head coaches. 2021, Bruce Arians versus Andy Reid, 2 offensive-minded head coaches. 2020, Andy Reid versus Kyle Shanahan, 2 offensive-minded head coaches. 2019, Sean McVay versus Bill Belichick, an offensive-minded head coach and a defensive-minded head coach. So it's been since the year of 2019 that a team with a defensive-minded head coach has won the Super Bowl. Year before that, 2018, Doug Peterson versus Bill Belichick, right? So when you look at this, I just think that the league is heading more towards offensive-minded head coaches. And even if people want to say, okay, well, Nick Sirianni doesn't call plays, so you could kind of categorize them like the defensive-minded head coaches that don't call plays. The Eagles want to fire their offensive coordinator for the 3rd year in a row. So do you want inconsistency as at your play caller spot? I don't think so, especially on the offensive side of the ball where the quarterback is the most important position in the sport, in all of sports. So that's where I look at that and I say the future of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, respectfully, I don't think needs to be included with Todd Bowles. And again, I hate to say that because I am a fan of Todd Bowles. I just don't think what he wants and the type of team he wants to coach is what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are. And again, it's kind of, I'm going to talk about Sharon Moore here, and I'm not comparing these guys as people. I'm not doing that. So please don't try to insinuate that I am. I'm just saying as head coaches, both of those guys I think are good head coaches. Are they head coaches that are going to win you national championships, win you Super Bowls? I don't think that's the case. I think a guy like Todd Bowles is very good for the culture, but when you look at the culture of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's a player-led leadership structure. So I think that you can get an offensive-minded head coach who is more based in schematics than culture, even though, by the way, like, you don't have to find one without the other. To me, Ben Johnson is a guy who can dial up plays, but can also build a culture. Brian Schottenheimer with the Cowboys can build a culture and dial up plays. I don't think you need to find somebody that's just good in one aspect and not good in the other. Offensive-minded head coaches who can call plays have been able to build really good cultures. Sean McVay, offensive-minded head coach who can build a culture. Kyle Shanahan, offensive-minded head coach who can build a culture. Liam Cohen, the former offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, offensive-minded head coach who can build a culture. Dave Canales over there in Carolina, offensive-minded head coach who can build a culture. I don't think you just need to have a defensive-minded head coach to build a culture. I'm sorry, by the way, if I'm mumbling over my words. I just got a root canal the other day, or a crown installed the other day, and I'm like fumbling over my words. It's kind of hard to talk over this thing, but that's besides the point. I just don't like the idea that you have to hire a defensive-minded head coach to have a good culture. It's not true. It's not the case. Dan Campbell's an offensive-minded head coach. Granted, he calls plays now, but over the past few years, he's had Ben Johnson calling plays, right? But he was able to build a culture. It's just so overrated to me that you have to get a defensive-minded head coach to build a culture. You can get an offensive-minded guy who can build a culture. McVay, Shanahan, they have good cultures. Schottenheimer has a good culture. Canales has a good culture. And to Todd Bowles' credit, he has been able to find some really good offensive coordinators. Grizzard doesn't look like he hit on that offensive coordinator pick. And if you're going to be one of these guys that isn't going to call offensive plays, you need to be able to consistently find guys that can step up and be play callers for you. And it's hard to do that. It's hard to find a Dave Canales. It's hard to find a Liam Cohen. It's hard to find, not only is it hard to find those guys, it's hard to find them in succession with each other and then finding another guy to succeed them. It's difficult. And that's why I say it's probably best if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just say, we're probably just going to move on here. All respect in the world to Todd Bowles. I think he's going to be able to find another head coaching job because he did do some really good things in Tampa Bay, but there needs to be a certain type of personnel direction that you need. And by the way, this is not just a Todd Bowles thing, right? Like, I think if Sean McVay was the head coach of the Houston Texans, for example, do I think they're as good of a team? No. Why? Because that's not the direction of their personnel, right? The direction of their personnel is on the defensive side of the ball, and you're hiring an offensive-minded head coach. I don't think that that's a fit. I think he fits in LA. Why? Because that's the direction of the personnel. When you have those two receivers on the outside, when you have the quarterback, when you have the running back, when you have that type of personnel direction, yeah, he's going to fit in that. But if he were to go over and be the head coach of a defensive-led football team, I don't think that he would be as good as he is in LA. It's just not the case. Even Sean Payton in Denver, I think Sean Payton's done some damn good things. Do I think Sean Payton could be even better if he had the type of personnel direction? Like, here's the thing, right? Do I think Sean Payton could have a more explosive offense with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than he has in Denver? No doubt about it, right? Now, maybe when you look at the personnel there, I think the Denver personnel, they have a great defensive coordinator. But again, it's going to be interesting to see because I think you can swing that a little more, right? Like, you can swing the offensive-minded head coach on a defensive-led football team more than the other way around, because defensive coordinators, they don't get the type of leash that offensive-minded head coaches do, right? Like, Cliff Kingsbury was not good for the Cardinals, and he had to take his name out of coaching consideration this offseason. With one season, he was able to change his image that quickly. Vic Fangio, great defensive coordinator, he's not getting another head coaching opportunity. Dennis Allen over there with the Chicago Bears, he's not getting another head coaching opportunity. Steve Spagnuolo, he's not getting another head coaching opportunity because they want to promote the young offensive minds. And if the young offensive minds don't cut it, they'll go be an offensive coordinator for a year. And if they prove that they can go be a great offensive coordinator again, they're going to get another head coaching opportunity. It's not the case with the defensive guys. Defensive guys, they'll go and they'll get an opportunity to be a defensive coordinator like Vic Fangio did with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, granted, he went to Miami before then, but he went to the Eagles and they really took off defensively. He's not going to get another head coaching opportunity because they're like, we've seen it before. Dennis Allen, he's doing some really good things with the Bears defense. He's not going to get another head coaching opportunity. Steve Spagnuolo has won Super Bowls, he's like a 4-time Super Bowl champion as a defensive coordinator. He's not going to get another head coaching opportunity. So that's why Denver can be like that. Because Vance Joseph is doing some really damn good things with Denver. He's not going to get another head coaching opportunity. He's just not. So that's the way I look at this whole situation. I think you could swing an offensive-minded head coach being the head coach for a defensive-led football team. I don't think you do it the other way around, which is why I ultimately think the Denver Broncos Tampa Bay Buccaneers should just move on from Todd Bowles and go in a different direction.